Okay, so these videos will be available on YouTube for you guys to rewatch if you want to, or share it with your friends and family and any other fellow brave souls that are willing to step out of the box. We've got a Telegram group, we've got a WhatsApp group, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, which I'm struggling to keep updated, but there's info out there. Our website is almost redone again. We've needed to upgrade it recently. Eunice and myself are like the conduit to get things done and pave the way for you guys to be to fix what is broken in your communities. That's all we are. We started about 1.5 years ago, and it's been a long road, and we will continue to make sure that we can fix our country and give you the latest information and ways to do it. But we also need help sometimes, but we will let you know as things progress what we need when. Okay, so I'm handing over to Eunice.
Hi, hello everybody. I think I just want to recap on what you said now, Thandi, just so that people understand. I heard when you just said that people don't have time, and it's true, we don't have time. But in that we don't have time, you drink tea with somebody, or you make a remark, or you see something and you respond to that. And if you could just use that in the right direction, then you're making a mark, then you're making a difference. So you needn't put hours and hours and days into it. But where you are, you can make a difference. And tonight we want to talk about changes in my community, where I live, where those changes are happening. So we've worked behind the scenes to put the structure, the strategy, all the things together, and all those documents are ready for you on the website to download. But tonight we want to just bring all of them together and take it from there so that we know where we're going. We're on a definite path of restructuring, revisiting, and to restore our country, to restore the people and to restore our country. And if we are not ready, you know, lots of people ask me, when is the money coming? And I did that for many years. But then I realized money is not going to change the world. Money will make things easier for us, but it will take us back to the old patterns. And with that, I'm not saying we shouldn't have the money. The money is coming, and it's been worked on, and we'll touch on that tonight. But the most important thing is that people's hearts must be ready. If you would have 10 million rand in your hands tonight, what would you do with it? Each one of us, just ask yourself that question. Will you be ready to run with it? Will you be okay to do something to restore people, restore our planet? So that we can move forward? Or will it just go back into the supply chain that's been there all along, and the dark side will again pick it up and run with it? We do not want them to do that again. It's our time, and we're ready for it. Okay, so when we talk about our community, I quickly want to touch on what's the difference between a neighborhood and a community. A neighborhood is where houses are, in the same area where people live. A community is when a few people, or most of the people, come together in unity. And you can see the difference if you drive into a city, a town, a rural area, or wherever, and you will see where there's unity, and you will see where there's just neighbors living next to one another. And a community doesn't mean we all see eye to eye on everything. It means that for our sake, for restoration going forward, it doesn't matter whether you're fat or thin or long or tall or pink or yellow, or a child or an old person. It doesn't matter who you are. Your status is not the important thing here. The important thing is that each one of us are sovereign, and that each of us come together with what we have and change the world going forward. But if each of us puts our minds in the right place and moving forward, that's where the difference comes. The difference will come in. It will not come from somebody. There's no savior that's going to come and change everything for us. It's actually in our hands what we want to do with it. Are we going to move in line with what God wants for this planet and for us? Or are we going to sit back and let whatever happens with them? Okay, so let's get back to our world is changing rapidly. And we see that in our neighborhoods, in the communities, in the areas where we live. We talk about and over the word infrastructure, because in our lifetime, the powers that be took care of it, or did they, or didn't they? And when we talk about infrastructure, people often do not understand what infrastructure is. And I'm sure that all of you know what it is, but we just want to recap very quickly tonight and see what we're talking about, because governance happens in infrastructure. Power of people lies in the infrastructure. The choices for us lies in infrastructure, not in anything else. Now, what is infrastructure? A community is made up of we the people, and at the center of us, around our living space, systems develop. The center of where and how we live, where our existence is, or our needs. Sorry, just a second, guys, forgive me. There we go. Sorry. The center of where and how we live, where we are based, where our existence is, there are needs. Wherever we live, wherever we want to move, wherever we want to talk with somebody, there are needs. These needs are supposed to be met by systems. So when we talk about communication, it's a system of communication, and that's part of the infrastructure. If you talk about housing, it's a need. We have to live in some sort of a housing, and that's a system. And all these systems coming together, that is what's called an infrastructure. Now, we often think infrastructure is municipal utilities, you know, the services that we get from the municipal area or the municipal offices, wherever they are. So we think of utilities, which is water, sanitation, electricity, refuse removal, things like that, streetlights. We think that is infrastructure. I often ask people, and this is what their broad understanding is. But if you think of everything that you use in a day, everything that you need, the road you travel on, the banks you use, the communication you use, the tap that you open and the water comes out or doesn't come out, all of that is part of infrastructure. And inside of those infrastructures is where the needs of people are supposed to be met. Now, if we look at environment, we need clean spaces, clean air, and contaminated soil, conservation. There's so many different things. This is not just for the farmers or for the people who are looking after the rhinos. This is for everyone. There where you live, what do you do with the area that you live, with the air that you breathe? Are we living there as sovereign beings? So if each person on earth takes responsibility and are accountable for where they live and link up with the infrastructure that's touching onto every person. What I do with water in my house has an effect on all the people around me, and in the end, on our country, our continent, and the world. So with that, I'm not saying we shouldn't use it, and we should be, because some people get so, they don't want to use it. No, it's there for our use. God actually put it on earth for us to use it, but how we use it is very important. Now, so there's transport. It's the road, harvest, freight. You know, guys, every day when you buy a bread from Pick n Pay, it was done there brought there by transport. There's an infrastructure of transport that bring our food, that bring clothes, that bring whatever supplies we need to or from us, whether it's just in South Africa or whether it's worldwide, but it touches on our lives. Now, we will never be responsible for a whole continent or for a whole country. None of us will be responsible for that. But each community will be responsible. What did they do when water comes into that community? What do they do with that water? Is it okay just to have taps leaking all over and using excess and waste with water? Or will that community take responsibility to keep the water clean, to make sure that it's not contaminated, to keep recyclables out of the water, etc., etc. So that is what we mean when we say change our community. If each of us takes responsibility, education, for food, for medical, whatever, security, communication, treasury, trade, all of those things are part of where we live. And that's, every one of them is part of a system, and the systems together is infrastructure. Okay. Now, when I said earlier that we all can be different, but we're all sovereign. It means that we come together with basically 4 things. We want clean water, clean air, clean soil, which will give us good food. And then we want to look after people. So if you are a Methodist or a Catholic, or you don't believe in God, or whoever you are, that is not the important thing here. We are not going to try and make everybody just like in a mold, and we have to do the same thing. No, be sovereign who you are. But on those things, we come together and we talk about the same things, because that's where the restoration needs to happen. And then from there, we move forward. Okay, so when we look at these systems, and when these systems fail, we as people, and therefore our communities, fails. Because if the needs can't be met, we fail. Just look at our country and what it cost us with the energy crisis that we're in, and it's continuing, that we do not have electricity all the time. It did so much damage to the health of people, to the economy, to growth, to going forward, to feel safe. It touched on every area of our lives. But it's not only energy. If you look at everything, I don't know about you guys, if you have clean water, I'm very happy for you, but I live in Pretoria and we get water from Randval, and Randval's water is so contaminated. They've got raw sewage going into their drinking water daily. Now, sometimes people say, oh, well, I buy bottled water. Yes, but you wash your clothes in that contaminated water and you bath in it. And we use that in many different ways. So we can't just look away from it anymore. It's easy to fix it when we have the voices standing up together and saying, this is what we want. But if we keep quiet, it will just keep on getting worse and worse. Okay, so if we look at these systems, and we see a lot of them have broken down. Now, if you will break a leg, it's difficult for a person with a broken leg to walk normal. It's really just difficult. It will cause all sorts of spin-off problems if they keep on trying to walk on that leg. So people will normally, when they have something that's broken, try to, mend it or support it in such a way that you can get around what the problem is, that you can build something that's better and that can take you to the future. You just don't say, well, I've got a broken leg, I can't do anything about it, that's just the way it is. Just like that, we've got broken systems, and we have wonderful plans. If you speak to the people, especially the people in the rural areas, what they're doing to fix problems and to stand together and to come together, and that is happening worldwide. Okay, when these systems break down, we have difficulties in maintaining good relationships, achieving goals. You can see how angry people are when you go to the bank and it's closed, or they just closed another 6 branches in your area and you can't do what you have to do, or you phone to speak to somebody wherever and the phone just keeps on ringing and then somebody answers and they can't help you. If it breaks down, it's very difficult to maintain good relationships. It's difficult to achieve goals. It's difficult to keep families together. The economy suffers. Morals and morale goes sideways, and the list goes on. Most of these systems are given to us for our use by governments worldwide, meaning it is supplied, supported, maintained, and under control of the government for our use. Look no further than your own neighborhood. We suffer because the systems are in some state or another of broken down. Now, some of the areas have got good systems going, but in the majority of places in South Africa, and this is all over the news, and you can see the statistics of that. Municipalities in South Africa are really suffering. They can't do the basic utilities that they have to do. Do you know that the Constitution puts the power of people in their municipalities? And another word for municipality is community. That means that the people in a specific area have got a voice. And if they stand up, if they speak together with one voice, that is what they will have. But we don't do it because they've broken it down. They've done so much to it that we can't really get there. And what we want to do with restoration is get back to that. We don't want to break laws. We don't want to overthrow anything. We want to raise up something that works for us so that all of us can live in peace and move forward. And it will not just happen for nothing. And it's not just a magic wand and tomorrow everything is fixed. We will have to do that. So I want you to imagine with me for a minute. So if you want to, wherever you are, just close your eyes, just go inside for a second. Imagine for a moment, see the area that you live in. Just look at the streets, the people, the cars, the shopping centers, the schools, the churches, whatever is in that area, just see that. Now place yourself in that area as a leader, as part of the leadership. If the leaders are like the CEO of a company in that area where you live, will that influence your decisions? Will you make different choices? If you had a say, if you could choose, what would happen with those people, with the streets, with whatever is happening in the area where you live? Will it be different than it is today? You see, what I find with lots of people, they say, we don't have a choice. People just make the decisions and we just, it doesn't help. We can't change anything. Guys, we can. We're the only ones who can change anything. Nothing is going to come flying in or doing something and change it for us. It's in our hands and we can change it. And the way we change it is to really start talking to one another, thinking by yourself, what can we do to change in our area, and start working on plans, because whether we like it or not, our planet's going to be restored and we can be part of it, which is very exciting, or we can sit on the sideline and do what a lot of people say, I will wait until it happens and then I will join you. Well, perhaps you will not have the opportunity then of joining or doing it, because others would have gone forward with it. But if you're one of those people who want to be a pioneer and walk forward with this, please, I invite you tonight to really come on board and do it. So if your eyes are still open, closed, you can open them now. Okay. What will happen going forward when it all goes away? If all these systems fall away, some of them are broken, but some of them are still working a little bit. What will happen if it all goes away? How will we support ourselves? What supply chains have we got in mind to put back in place? I was talking to somebody yesterday about supply chains. Guys, if you go into a shopping center, just have a look. In the area where I live, the soap powders just for washing clothes was like about, I would say about 20, 30 meters wide, the shelves. You had Omo and Surf and Bingo and Biotech and all sorts of things. If you go in there now, with my arms, I can touch on the shelf like that, and that all of the stock is in there. Normally, when you went into a supermarket and you took something from the shelf, it was packed right to the back, whether it's rice or mealie meal or whatever. Now, check this for yourself and see if I'm right or wrong. When you take out the front one, there's perhaps one or two at the back. It's not packed until the back. There's not stock on the shelves. And a lot of the companies have fell away. So if you used to use Bingo for argument's sake, and you come there and there's no Bingo, then you buy Biotech or you buy whatever the other product is. But just open your eyes to the fact that a lot of products are just going away. The supply chains are not there. The supply chains have broken down. And because of that, we are running into trouble if we don't start thinking about what can we do. And I can honestly tell you, if you start speaking to people, you will hear how many people have got ideas. They're walking around with these dreams in their hearts and they don't think it will ever happen. It's going to happen. We are going to put the wonderful new supermarkets and farmers markets and stuff in place where they're not yet. And it will even be better than the ones we've seen up to now. Okay. So in our communities, we are divided, we are isolated, and we're torn apart by evil messages. Our media has spewed so much evil over our lives, and that brought division in our thinking. Never mind about division between people. In our thinking, we are divided because you have this dream, I want to do it, but then immediately it comes up, oh, I can't do it. I don't have the money or the time or the know-how or the whatever. Can you recall the stories that was told of a life in a carefree society? I grew up in a carefree society where we could play outside, we breathed fresh air, we heard nature's sounds like birds chirping, wind blowing through the leaves of green trees. And one of the nice things that we as children did is we lay down on the grass and looked at the sky and enjoyed the clouds. Guys, our children doesn't know about that anymore. They don't do that anymore. It's just digital things and rush, 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 and they've got so much to do. Remember a time when the world felt good. We all want to feel safe. We want to live in freedom, and we want to feel that we belong. That has been taken away from us, but it's ours. It's ours, so we can take it back. It was always ours. We just forgot because of so many rules, decisions not taken by us, changes that we could not control, etc. Let us make a decision to get out of that mode of thinking and take back our dreams, our wanting to live in good circumstances, our decision making. Take back your decision making in your mind, in your head, in how you see the world. Take it back. Don't focus on the things that are wrong. There's a lot of wrong things around us. That's not important. It's already happened. What we haven't put in place yet is our dreams, our imagination, our coming together, our doing it. And that is what we're talking about tonight. When we decentralize our expectation and look to our own communities for skills, expertise, and will to sustain the good life, you will see it is down to each community. That is where our lives are jeopardized if we do nothing. If we do nothing, it lies in the communities. Communities are made of people and very often of families, not even blood-related families. But doing something can bring about the big change. The question is, will I? Will you? Please bring what you have. We have to step up and do it. Our support to one another is so valuable. Don't, when somebody tells you about something that they dream about or they think they want to do, even if it sounds crazy to you, don't break them down. Don't stand against them. See how you can help them to bring it together. Perhaps they don't have a very good plan. At least they've got a plan. At least they're speaking up about their plan. So let's bring it together. So in this plan, we're talking about self-governance. Self-governance is something that God gave us as sovereign beings to make decisions about ourselves. And if we want to bring that to life in a community, we will do it in the form of self-governance, whereby the steps are: number one, we find out what the needs are. The needs will do the systems, which will become the infrastructure. Okay, so we find out what the needs are. Then we link those needs with projects. Anybody, whether it's a child of 6 or a man of 606, whatever your age is, that doesn't matter. If you're literate or not, it doesn't matter. If you have a dream and you want to do a project, we will see how we can help you, especially when the funding is there, to put your dream into a real project that you can be proud of and that will serve your community. So the first thing is we have to find out what the needs are, and then we have to link them with a project. Now, this sounds very difficult, but it's actually very easy. Once the funding opens up, we will get the community, and when we have the people together, to vote on it. So the community will say, yes, we want it, or no, we don't want it. If you say, I want to open a brothel, and the community says, no, we had some of those, it wasn't good for us, we don't want that anymore, it's not going to happen. If the community says, but we don't have somebody to take care of our elderly, and somebody comes up with a project and they're happy with that, they will vote for it, and that's what you will do. And then we will apply for the funding, and then it's go, go, go all the way forward. Okay, so self-governance lies in it, that nobody's going to do their own thing, but we're all going to do it together. So why this is very important: if you have the buy-in of the people, the plan can be set in motion. Informed people care and take care, because now they think it is theirs, and it is, because whatever we're going to do it for all of us, not just for you. You will be taken care of through your project. You will have an income, you will have whatever you need through the project. But the project will also bring service to the people. It will help the people. And because of that, if everybody looks out for that, you don't need to have so many security guys looking after your stock or whatever, because the community will look after it. They will take care of it. They will not mess with it. They will not waste. And they will support you in what you want to do. So you be one of those supporters, and others will support you. And that's where we're going. So we have two balancing sides, two pillars in self-governance. On the one side, it's all the plans that we make. On the other side, it's what the people say. And when these two come together, it's beautiful, because then you've got unity in the community. And that's what we say when we say community. It means come into unity. And we come into unity about the infrastructure and about how we will have systems working for us, how our needs will be met, and going forward with that. So the conclusion is that each of us need to step up. This is not for someone else, but for each of us. We will, because it is not unachievable. Guys, it's achievable. If everyone starts dreaming, just open yourself up to that. Support other people. Talk to people about it. You don't have to put in hours and hours, but let your mind go there. Instead of moaning or complaining again about whatever happens in the community, change your thinking, your wording to what can we do about it? And then you will hear people. When I'm in Spa or standing in a queue or waiting somewhere or whatever, wherever I am, I ask people, if you could change anything in this area, what would you change? And boy, oh boy, they all answer you. They say, oh, it's impossible. There's not money. Then I say, okay, if money is not the problem, they will give you 3-4 dreams, plans in their hearts of what they want to do in the area. So it's not like people don't have it. They just don't speak up about it anymore, because for so long, there wasn't hope. We have hope. We know where we're going. We don't need money to go there. What I'm talking about tonight, we don't need money. Yes, along the line, we will need money. But for now, to dream, to talk, to support one another, you don't need money for that. You need a changed mind, an open mind, and we need an attitude of let's work with a plan and not against it. And that is what I wanted to tell you. So I want to open the floor now. If anybody has questions, please let's talk about it. Ask your questions, you're more than welcome.
Can the first person please unmute themselves? Sagrin, you new here. You want to ask a question?
Thank you, my leader. It's my first time to be part of your Zoom
Sorry, can you
meeting.
speak up for us?
I can't hear you.
Thank you very much, my leader. It's my first engagement with your Zoom meeting. I prefer to remain silent for now. I want to monitor how the discussion goes, and then maybe later I would voice my opinion. Thank you very much.
You mustn't wait too long. You must speak. You are welcome to speak. Sagrin, there's a lot of info that people want. So what we have prepared on the website is the videos, the downloads, they're all there. All the documents are on the website. We have a problem with the spacing on the website because the website was done by 3 different groups up to now, and everybody coded in their own way. But all the info is on the website already. But we are also working on I want to say a knowledge bank where we have all the information for a community that they can draw on that, see the different solutions for communities and what they can choose. For argument's sake, if you look at communication. So if you are in Woolbots or Tabazimbi or Gravelot or Windhoek, or well, wherever you are in the world, and you need communication and you have trouble with the communication that we have currently, and you as a community decide that we can make the money from our own community and give them a better service. You put up your own mast and you supply your own system, just like any of the other systems, Telkom, Vodacom, MTN, whatever, whoever they are. You can do your own thing in your own community. Now, lots of people do not know about that, but we've got the information about that, the solutions of that. If you look at electricity, we don't have to be on the grid. A whole community can get a plant in their community that gives them all their electricity and they sell it to their own people, or they supply it for free, whatever they want to do in their community, and help the community by doing that. So we want to decentralize some of the stuff that we are getting stuck with in South Africa at the moment, and bring it back to the communities. So yes, we're working on putting all that together, and we will need all of you to, when you have a solution, to come and also populate it on that program, so that everybody can look into it. So there's lots of different things that we can do, like farmers markets and agriculture and how to grow food, and lots of stuff what we can do in a community. Why do we have to wait for farmers that sent their products from 6 hours drive away from you, and then it sits on the market and it goes through 4, 5, 6 groupings of whoever, and then you buy it as fresh, and it's not fresh anymore? Why can't we have more fresh things in the communities that we live? So that's the type of thing that we're looking at. But yes, there's a lot of info. There's a lot of things that we want to go and how we want to do it. Like we spoke about needs assessments tonight. The documents for that is on the web. If you want to go there, it's easy to download, and we made it as small as possible. There's videos, PDFs, forms, all of them on there, and it's easy to see what you need and to download them from there. If that would help you at all, Sagrin. Yes.
Thank you very much.
And if you need any answers, any of you guys, you are welcome to phone me or Tandi. I see Tandi placed my number there. You're welcome to phone me. If I don't answer immediately, I will phone you back. It's just that I'm busy with something else then, but I will phone you back. And I can phone you back because I've got limitless calls. So you're welcome. If you have questions, I'll speak to you.
Then I must just say that if you find that for your internet solution at home or your electricity generation, you find that there's laws that are actually standing in your way. We are busy working on plans to actually clear the way for you so that you can generate your own electricity or do whatever you need to do. So don't let the if and the but be in your way. Tell us what your if and the but is. Then we can talk about it. We can find ways around it, because a lot of these obstacles in your way can be cleared out. We have got a fantastic contact for that. So it's really good. Seriously, it's exciting. Just stay there. We can do it. Okay. Don't run away.
Yes, don't come on board. We're going to change it. You know, if there's regulations or rules or a way that culture did something and it's not working for the good, we can work around that. We're not going to squash anybody. We're not going to try and tread on people. We're going to, like with a broken leg, find a way around it, find a way that can work. So please don't stay away. Talk to us, because there's lots of creative things that God is releasing into people's minds. Please share that with us. Don't just keep it.
So
okay, you've got your hand up, Vicky.
If there's something that's not there for the good of humanity, if it's there to poison us, kill us, be an obstacle in any way, please just reach out. We've got a solution. Seriously. Okay. Yes. Vicky, go for it. I think she's just frozen.
Unmute it.
There we go. Vicky, go for it.
Our I wanted to ask if you guys are in any way connected to the organic humanity movement. Like you guys,
we are not political in any way.
I wanted to find out.
No, not okay. At all. That is Double O Desert's wife. No, we're not political.
Another group.
They're a definite political movement. We're not political in any way, never will be. And the way we're moving forward is going to be without politics.
We don't want interference of any sort, not religious, not race, not political, not in any way. We are a group of like-minded people that stands for restoration. That does not mean we stand against them. We're just not going to join them. If they want to become part of us, we don't have memberships. You can become a member by just bringing your data and working, and we all work together moving forward. We are not an organization that does something. We like-minded people that works for restoration. So if you are part of whichever political party or church or whatever, and you want to join up with us, please come on, you're welcome. Okay, as long as we do no harm. That's the motto in our group. We do no harm to nobody. Good.
The reason we're not, I know who they are, and I don't have a problem with them as people. It's just we have been controlled by governments and politicians and political parties for a very long time. And we've got to move out under that umbrella into the private and actually be sovereign as human beings, and not just say that we're sovereign because we're making some decisions for ourselves, but we've got to start acting as such. And the way has already been paved. We'll tell you more about it in another broadcast about that. We don't need to go with more political systems going forward because they are being dismantled. No government has been paid in 3 years. Therefore, this is the urgency with actually getting communities to step forward and taking care of their own electricity for their community. You guys getting together as your community and saying, Heart Bay, what are our energy needs? How many people do we have? What energy solutions have you got? Have you got a whole list for us, Tandi, Eunice? What energy solutions can we look at? Can we put our own generator in? Do we want to use some model somebody else has used? Can we put in our own energy so we never run out of energy? Does our water have fluoride in it? How can we actually get control of that water supply to prevent fluoride being put into our water? That is what we need to look at, taking that responsibility. Do we need?
Are you part of creating consciousness?
No.
There's another group called Creating Consciousness. Are you linked to them, perhaps?
No, we are.
So they're doing exactly the. They're trying to do exactly the same thing.
Yes, we are linked to Life Force, and the funder for all our projects is actually the head of the global repository. Directly. She's the person that normally funds the world governments, but she hasn't stopped.
And the reason why she stopped is because the governments are not taking care of the people. And that's not our country, it's all the countries. The governments are not taking care of the people. That's why the funding is there. So she decided to let the money go to, the funding go to the communities, to the people, so that the people can do it.
And these projects will be in your name. If you decide you're going to start driving old ladies and old wimpies around to go and do their shopping, or build a community center for them, that is your project. So that you take ownership of that and you take care of them.
I just want to say that if we start with a list of people doing same things or things similar to what we're doing, you'll have thousands of them. There are so many groups doing it, and that's a good thing. We're not trying to stop any of those groups. We're not trying to absorb any of those groups. We say that as we go along and we have something that we can touch on with them, we can take hands, we work together. If they want to do it on their own, they're more than welcome. They're more than welcome. So we're not enemies, and we're not trying to win field here. We're trying to, when Tandi said we're conduits, that's exactly what we are. We're just trying to give the information out. Is there anybody who wants to know about the repository or the global funding?
Yes, we want to know, but Andy, another question, sorry. I just turned the video off because of our internet connection, but we're still here.
That's fine.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that introduction was fantastic, and part of what I've been musing on is the power of words and how we are conditioned, unconsciously from birth, basically, with all these negative words and negative thought patterns. Now is the time to actually change our words, become wordsmiths, and also not use the enemies. I call them the enemies or burglars or whatever you want to call them. Not use their words, because their words are infused with fear and doubt and all this rubbish. And actually, we are powerful beings as humans. We've got and we can create whatever we want, but we just have to allow ourselves that thought. We have to change our thought patterns, like now, because all these systems, or not all, but a lot of these systems are horribly broken. I mean, I'm working with regenerative architecture and natural building for, I don't know, my whole career. And it's amazing what you can do with nothing, basically, just with your time, your energy, and just your imagination, and using what you have around you. And that's how, because all of these systems that use chemical rubbish and all this stuff, you know, we've got to detach from that. We've got to just say, yes, that's fine. You know, if people want to use it and poison themselves or whatever, then go for it. But, you know, now's our time to actually say, it's enough of that now. And we've got to create new systems in this world. And like you say, at a local level, that's where it begins. And through networking, through information, and being active, that's where I think we're at now as humanity. Because if we don't, we're going to become slaves. We're already slaves, but, you know, in the system. But if we don't really change, we're going to become more enslaved in the system, because that you can see is the agenda. This transhumanist thing that you know, the globalists are trying to push us into. You know, they're trying to vaccinate all the blimmin' animals and livestock at the moment, and yet our livestock are very future, because that's how we regenerate our soils through you know, if you had holistic resource management, Alan Savory's work, you know, in sort of mimicking nature, in how these great herds of migrations moved across the earth and stimulated the soils. You know, and yet our agricultural practices are not doing that. They're degrading the soils. And so we need to radically change. And so we must support. Our vote is with what our little money that we have. We must vote money and do the right thing and change the system, because we've got to detach from these broken systems, these systems which are just destroying stuff, you know, and we can. So that's my thoughts. And today's spring, so 1st of spring, so let's do it.
Yes. I absolutely agree with what you said just now. You know, it's one of the most difficult things to change the way that we think and our words, because we're so conditioned to do it. And if somebody says, oh, perhaps you should use that word, we get all, you know, don't tell me what to do. Just change our attitudes, listen to one another, because other people hear things that you don't even hear because you're so used to doing it. But you are quite right, and it's happening. It's a worldwide thing. It's happening. What I saw with systems in the last 2 years, there is not one system that has not been poisoned, evilized, I don't know what words to put in there, twisted, given us lie to us about not one, not education, not health, not transport. It doesn't matter what you look at. All of them have been infiltrated by very, very evil and dark forces or attitudes, and it's spilled over to us through the media. And to clean that up, it's a difficult time, but it's also a very exciting time. So thank you for that, that you participated in that. I appreciate. Okay, guys, you know that we changed from Assembly South Africa to Communities for South Africa. It's still the very same group, the same lots of us. It's just that some of the people felt that assemblies have got, it's loaded words. There are so many different assemblies in South Africa, and in Africa as such, it's the Assembly Church, and it's the Assembly, which is the government, and the Assembly for Bitcoin, and the list goes on. So we decided to move away from that, because we are communities, and we voted on that, and the people decided to change the name. And that's one of the reasons why we changed everything and refreshed it all so that we have the right information. Okay, it's Communities for South Africa instead of it was Assembly for South Africa. Good. Anybody else?
Yes, I'd like to say something. It's Marlene. A lot of the people, you know, we talk about creating communities and creating this and creating that. A lot of people have already done that. And I think for us, it's also to find, like, for instance, to go to these markets, to buy online, to buy organic, and support the people that are already doing it. Because they're not getting the support. They can't get off the ground because the big corporations are doing them out of you know, maybe coming in cheaper and all the rest of it. But if we start supporting these people that are already doing it for our country and for their communities and for everybody, we're already contributing so much and helping towards that without actually even doing anything ourselves, just supporting the people that are. Put our money there now, not into the corporations. Don't go to the big stores and buy their products. Buy online, find the organic, even get together with 4 of your neighbors and you order, so you have one courier costs for all 4 of you or 6 of you or however. So you all get together, order the fruits and veg that you perhaps have and have one delivery that will come to the 4 or the 6 of you. That's also one way that we can actually contribute towards the restoration and towards the benefit of these people that are trying very hard to get off the ground.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about tonight. Don't wait until somebody joins you or comes to the same church or school or whatever. If it's somebody does that does something to restore or to do no harm, to move forward, please support one another. They don't have to be part of us. We are all part of one another. It doesn't matter in which group they are. And if they've done something, give them the thumbs up for what they've done. And let's all move together forward. We are not looking for, we need so many people in this group. When a community, whether that community has got 20 different people, groups working with farmers, when that community's 20 groups speak with the same voice and say, we want good food, they will have good food because the people have spoken them. They've brought their vote out, and that's what we want. They needn't be part of Life Force. They needn't be part of us as communities. We are just connected to the asset fund, to the global repository, and that's where funding will come from. And that's where the plan that has been approved over the world for restoration has come from. And a lot of the things that you see comes from that plan, even though they don't know that it came from there. Because lots of people have dreams. They wake up at the night and they start writing, or they speak to somebody and it just sparks. Because God is changing our world. Our world is really moving into a time of restoration. So it doesn't matter who picked it up, who grabbed hold of it and said, I'm going to do it. Let them do it and help them. And if you're one of those that has something that can benefit somebody else, speak to us, speak to people around you, get them to stand with you, ask for support. We forgot how to support one another. We will rather criticize somebody instead of helping them. That was the old pattern. We'll be going now, say to somebody, hey, I need somebody to just give me a little push or a shove because this is what I want to do. Even if you supply whatever to 2 or 3 people, start doing it. Don't look down on it because it's a small beginning. It's all the small beginnings that together makes one big, big, big stream of goodness. Thank you, Marlene. Yes, it's definitely valuable and good.
So what we're doing now is happening in every country in the world, just about. There's some countries that still haven't come together and having these meetings, but we've been doing it now for 1.5 years, having meetings, and before that we were just gathering together. It's been a long road, but we need to come together in each area where you are. Start speaking to your neighbors, speak to the engineers, call and ask where the engineers in your community, have meetings with them. Yes, we actually have, you can be as bold as to go and meet with a couple of engineers. You don't have to have the knowledge, they've got the knowledge. Just make sure whatever they do is there for the greater good of humanity. Get pricing for what it will cost to fix that water system that's broken. You can actually do that. I mean, I don't have the right to give you permission, but I'm giving you permission. We just have to put on those big gold brooks and pull them up and do it. Plain and simple. I mean, it's crazy. Me asking people, for meetings for people that aren't even in our country, people that have tech. I'm speaking to people. Eunice is speaking to people in our country that have amazing tech. So we're gathering solutions for you guys, and we're making a list so you can come and read the list and say, well, I like that one and I like that one's description. Tell me more about that. So we can give you the information.
Or they will say, I've got something better, or I also have something to contribute. And we add it there because nobody's going to decide for you except for the community. The people in that community will decide what they want. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. We're just putting all the different things together. It's like going to a shop and buying whatever you want to in gifts, because it's all there. It's all there and we can use it. I couldn't get the gentleman's name with Vicky, but you said that we, just say again, Thandi?
Andy.
Andy, you said that, yes, you said that people, something about they mustn't waste their time on the things. And I just want to add on to that. Whether you are talking negative or positive, you are doing it. Check yourself. You are talking, or again, now I'm not talking about you as such. I mean, every one of us. We are talking because this is the world that we live in, and we are spending time. So when you are spending time to say something, just keep quiet sometimes and think, is that really what I want to sow? Is that what I want to say? And but then speak the positive thing. So yes, that was good that you said that.
That reminds me of that Don Miguel Louis. Sorry, carry on.
Just saying, to instead of to react, we react too quickly. So it's that you do yoga, you start to understand that you don't just react. Like take that little pause and then be conscious with what you put out there.
That's the difficult part. It's the easy thing to just
it's an ongoing challenge. Often you write things and you're like, oops, no, that's negative. Let me just pull that back. Let me put it to the positive future. And that's where we're at now.
Well, we go from the standpoint of doing no harm. And if we're doing no harm, it means you cannot harm yourself or anybody else. So if we have to change our wording or our actions or our attitudes, let's do it. Let's do it.
And it's
so even like the word, this whole pandemic, I don't use the word, I use the word COVID because to me it's positive. That puts a light spin on it, and it's not the word they're using to sow fear. To me it's a word that's it's a time of awakening. So we must change the narrative. That's how we're going to get past this. And then when you speak to people in the fear mode, then they're like, oh, but you're not using that fear mode. You're using a different word. So you kind of jar them out. You just like put them out of that little headspace, and then they're like a little question mark. And we can change things. I love the way you're saying, you ask a question in the queue. When you're queuing in a shop or something. It's like, what's your dreams? That's how we need to go forward.
You see, one of the things that we have to realize is our talk have been very negative for many, many, many years. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. They're not doing this. Can you believe that they did that? Guys, I'm going to say it very openly tonight. There was a plan over the world to bring us to much harm, to kill us, to spoil our lives, and not to let us be the beings that we're supposed to be. That plan has been rolled out for centuries, but from the 70s up to now, it just became worse. So if we're talking about the pandemic, you can talk about anything. There's at least 18, 20 different plans like that rolling at the same time. We cannot spend time with that anymore. That was their plan to keep us busy. We know it. We know what it's all about. When people start phoning you and say, I did this, can you tell me what can I do to fix it? Then you help them. But apart from that, just move on. Look at what's healthy for you. How do you clean your own body? What do you do to get the metals out of your body, the heavy metals, etc., etc. So, and help people with that. And in the group, there's a lot of knowledge, not only on that, with child trafficking, with laws, with all sorts of things. While I'm using the word law, I want to put this out to all of you. If you're in a community and we have to govern over our own communities, make decisions of what we want to do. And that comes down to every person. We talk a lot about the law and the courts and jail, and it's broken down. It's broken down for many, many years. Ever since I was a child, the person who had money or status or influence won the case. Not that, very, very seldom you see that somebody who's guilty was found guilty. It was actually who had the most influence. Now it's a completely different story in law. It's now really just the people who are very, very bad, who messes up everything. I don't even want to go in there. So if we look at our own lives, if somebody would steal something from me, how will I fix it? How will I restore? It's a good thing to say, send him to jail. Who's going to take care of him in jail? And what is he going to do in jail? After 3, 5, 7 years there, he's a really very well trained as a criminal. Shouldn't we think a little bit further than that? And I'm not saying that you should change the whole prison system. I really want to do that. But if you look at your own life, if somebody wrongs you, what is the rule of law in your life? How do you fix it? Because that's where it will start. Because if people in a community then come together and say, this is wrong, I'm not saying you excuse anything. If somebody's wrong, they're wrong. But sending them to jail is not always the answer. It doesn't fix it. One of the things that I saw in the area that I live, a lot of illegal immigrants came in, and I live on a small holding. So there's lots of trees and long grasses around the houses. And the people will come and stay there. And then somebody would report them, and the police will come and set the grass alight, and they burn off the whole place. So where do you think those people go? You haven't solved the problem at all. You just moved them 1 block, 2 blocks away. They just moved down the street. We have to think of solutions. We have to think of solutions. We're creative beings. It's, if you keep yourself busy with that, you will be so fulfilled. And really, that's where we are now. Look at what can we do to fix it? How can we solve problems? Thank you. Okay, our time is up, Thandi. I spoke so much tonight. I didn't intend to.
All right. Can we just ask Sylvia Vanello if you've got any questions?
I'm listening, but I don't want to respond to anything at the moment.
Okay.
I just want to get the background and first visit the website. Maybe at the next meeting.
Okay, next week, Thursday, same time, always every Thursday.
Okay, will you be posting the link here, or can we find it on your?
I will always post the link, but the link will never change. It always stays the same link to prevent any.
Because I see it changed now. I noted that.
No, Sylvia, are you asking about the website now or the Zoom call?
For a link for next time, do I use the same ID?
Yes.
Okay,
Zoom,
I'll make a
Zoom
note of
stays the
that
same,
and the
yeah.
time. Okay. Okay, I'm listening very intently, and I don't want to comment too fast. I first want to listen and hear and digest it all. It's beautiful. Everything I'm listening and hearing is good.
All right. Can I ask Vicky and Andy and Co if you have any more questions tonight?
Very interested in finding
You
out.
got mute.
No, I'm unmuted.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's too mute. Sorry, technical debate here. We're interested in finding out about your funder, but I suppose now, is it on your website?
It will be.
The
Yeah.
global repository?
It's already on there. But
cool, very exciting.
It's on the
Vicky,
website, yes.
Did you say you want more info on the global repository?
Yeah, we'd love to know more.
It's called the Asset Fund, the Global Asset Fund, and yes, there's a write-up on it, and you can download it as well.
Amazing, thank you so much,
guys. If you go onto the website and the spacing is not right, please just bear with us. We're trying to sort it out. You know, some of the tables are very wide and some of them are too close together, but everything is on there. So just look past that and just love us for it, because we're trying our best. I've never done it before, but now I do. So yes. What
we are doing now is the two of us, and it's self-funded. And so just be patient here. We're just doing it.
We're not professionals, but our hearts are in it. So
we're
go
not
for
asking permission. We're just doing it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Next week, same time. If anyone wants to add people to the WhatsApp group, please message me. I'll send you the link. I'm not posting the link in public anymore after having quite a few scammers and having lost people on the group. So there we go. Thank you. Have a lekker week.